Peace Academy.
My overall hope is to change the world in the way of Jesus. So what would it mean if we developed a curriculum that, in my head, was always a Peace Academy, that looked at providing a child a way of looking at the world through the eyes of Jesus that would become the norm rather than the exception.
Desmond Tutu says God dreams about a place where people care about each other and people share with each other, and that when people hurt each other, they say sorry and they forgive each other.
You know that you can do the right thing, and you found out other people's emotions and you feel their emotions. So then, therefore, you can feel other people's emotions and help them out with it.
The Peace Academy classes are nice because you're in there with a bunch of other people that are going through the same thing that you are, and you realize that it is not an easy job to parent or to create peace in your family.
The idea is that Peace Academy families can start when their child is in kindergarten, and they would participate in the fall and in the spring, and that their kindergartner and first grader would get all 4 units as a kindergartner and first grader. And then the curriculum is intended to spiral. So then when they become a second grader, they're doing a familiar unit, a unit they've done before, but it's new lessons. So the lessons build on what they've learned in kindergarten.
We've been 3 or 4 sessions, and we learned about it just through the bulletin at church. And we're curious because the first session was about poverty, and we thought, you know, how do you teach your kids about that? And so we were interested in just getting some new information on how to expose our children to other ways of life.
It becomes more and more clear to us that what we're trying to do is to live into God's dream, to live into God's dream for this church and to live into God's dream for this community, and to see where that goes, to see what happens, and to have the audacity to believe that it might actually make a difference.
I've liked that we get to learn about stuff and learn about like problem solving and showing feelings.
Well, if you have a conflict with somebody, what you can do is say, I don't like that because I feel, and you can say why it makes you feel that way.
If people are different, you should still be friends with them. They're not different than anybody else.
Besides learning, you know, trying to instill these ideas into the kids, I've learned a lot. It also reinforces in my life what I should do, and I think in some respects it's helped me and as an adult.
There was this little girl twirling. She was just twirling around and twirling around as people came through and shook my hand, and her mom would say, you know, come back over here. We have to wait a little while until everybody's through greeting Pastor Nanette, and then you can talk to her. She came up and she said, Pastor Nanette, do you know Mother Teresa? And I said, well, I don't know her personally, but I do know who Mother Teresa is. And I said, how do you know Mother Teresa? She goes, well, Peace Academy, silly. And I said, Peace Academy? She goes, Mother Teresa wanted peace, and she wanted people to love each other, and you need to remember that. And then she just spun away. And I remember thinking, I've got to remember this because I've got to get a hold of Tiffany, and I've got to tell her it worked. At least for one child, it worked.
You know, obviously you hope that if this is the way that what's been ingrained in them as kids, then they grow up to make the world a better place as we go from there. So.
I think Jesus had it right. I think it's really about connecting directly, authentically, and sincerely with one another, even in the midst of our differences. And if we can sit around a table and disagree with one another around political issues, around social issues, around economic issues, and be honest and respectful, and still at the end of the day love each other and come to the communion table together, that's the heart of United Methodism. That's why I am United Methodist. That's the heart of John Wesley and Grace. But are we as churches taking that seriously and living it and creating environments in our communities where people get to learn about how to do that well? Well, that's really Peace Academy.
We are peacemakers!